Hey guys, Dr. J here. Today we're going to be talking about infertility, the top reasons why someone may have infertility, and some root causes, things that you can do to work on fixing it. I see lots of patients who have infertility over the years, and we've been able to have solutions for a great majority of them. And I'll just kind of review some of the common themes that I see, some of the root physiological barriers, and what you can do about it. Before we dive in, please smash that like button. Love to see your comments down below. And if you have someone who could benefit from this information, please feel free and share it with them. So first big thing out of the gate when it comes to infertility, it could be typically 40% on the female side, 40% on the male side, and then there's kind of this 20% unknown. So anytime we deal with fertility issues, we want to work on both the husband and the wife to get that figured out. Very important. So let's say we're just dealing with, and some of the diet and lifestyle principles, they're going to go for each sex, right? So male and female, core foundational things. No pesticides. Really make sure everything is organic. Pesticides can have reproductive nervous system impacts. Make sure we're mitigating microplastics as much as possible. Microplastics, any types of non-stick coatings, really be on top of any of the external chemicals. So we have microplastics. We're going to have filtered water, at least an RO filter or some kind of a glass water bottle filter. RO is going to be great as well. So we have no pesticides. We're mitigating glyphosate, Roundup. Again, if you're organic, that's all going to be mitigated. We're decreasing plastic exposure. We're decreasing phytoestrogens or frankenfoods. We're focusing on good fats, good proteins, making sure there's enough nutrition. A lot of women, I run their kind of diet log through Chronometer, and we see they're under eating. And then nutritionally, that sends a signal to the brain that we're in stress, we're in a starvation state of lack, and to prioritize away from fertility to survival. And so you have to send signals to your brain that we're not in a survival state, we're in a thriving state. And the first thing you have to do is you have to have nutrients coming in. So whole foods, nutrient dense, anti-inflammatory, healthy fats, healthy proteins, and then adjust your carbohydrates. Nutrient dense whole foods, probably more vegetables than fruits and starch. One of the biggest reasons why women are infertile is because of PCOS. PCOS is a condition driven by excess insulin or insulin resistance and or reactive hypoglycemia, blood sugar spikes that can impact prolactin and increase androgens and cause ovarian cysts to grow. Right? Androgens and high levels of insulin take estrogen and go to testosterone. It upregulates certain enzymes like 1720 lyase that takes these female hormones, turns them into male hormones, and it can provide a fertile breeding ground to increase ovarian cysts. It can also increase prolactin, and that can throw off the cycle. So that's a big thing there out of the gate. The major medication they use for PCOS, guess what? It's metformin or glucophage, right? It's an insulin sensitizing compound. And so we really want to be on top of that. So if we have insulin problems, you want to look at the carbohydrates. You want to look at the healthy fats. You want to look at all the blood sugar nutrients to work on supporting it. So we're going to be on top of zinc. We're going to be on top of magnesium, ALA, all of our really important blood sugar nutrients to help that out of the gates. So that's big there out of the gate. And so we also want to make sure we have fat-soluble vitamins and healthy cholesterol and building blocks coming in too. We need these. These are the building blocks for all of our hormones. And so when you look at your steroid-based hormones, estrogen, progesterone, to make them all, you need to have cholesterol. It's the backbone. So if you're not eating healthy fats, healthy proteins, that's going to be a problem. Now, I see a lot of women that come in and they may have been on a plant-based diet for a while or vegetarian, vegan diet, and you're just not going to have those type of healthy fat-soluble vitamins or healthy cholesterol building blocks there. And then also, you may be more high carbohydrate. It's common to see super high carbs when we are on those type of plant-based diets. And the typical plant combining like protein and fat to get good protein with those carbs, it's about a 5-to-1 ratio of starch to protein. So you really want to make sure you have that dialed in. Okay, so we talked about the micronutrients. So micronutrients are going to be important too. So if you look at a lot of diets where there are a lot of cultures that were really supporting fertility, they added in more organ meats. So organ meats can be a really important thing to add in, whether it's liver, kidney, spleen. These have a lot of nutrient density, a lot of zinc, a lot of copper, a lot of selenium. So really important nutrients for healthy fertility. So organ meats can be very, very helpful. I would say after that is low progesterone or estrogen dominance can be a big thing. Now, high levels of estrogen can be there because of birth control pills or because of soy or frankenfoods. It can be there because of microplastics or pesticides. These can all increase estrogen. But we can also have estrogen dominance because progesterone starts to drop. Now, progesterone can drop because of many reasons, but the big one is stress and inflammation. progesterone can pinch hit downstream for cortisol. So the more stress, the more inflamed we get, we can lower that progesterone. And chronic stress can impact our HPA, HPG axis, hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. And that means basically the feedback loop that tells the brain to the ovaries to make certain hormones that can get disrupted. So big thing out of the gate, that's LH is the big hormone there. FSH talks to the ovaries, and that makes more estradiol. But chronic stress can impact that. And so we may do things that work on that LH signaling up in the brain, certain herbs. We may actually give bioidentical progesterone. We may work on the underlying stress and inflammation of why that's happening. Because if we just give progesterone, it could be almost like throwing gasoline in the fire if you're doing all these habits or things over here that are driving that inflammation. So you want to fix it on one side, and then the other side that we work on increasing the progesterone to get everything else dialed in. All right, talked about the hormones, talked about some of the toxins, talked about the adrenals play a big role too, because chronic stress, chronic inflammation lowers DHEA. And DHEA is an important building block from the adrenals to help with sex hormones. And so we'll run adrenal testing, and we'll look at the cortisol rhythm, we'll look at DHEA, and we'll see very low DHEA can be a driving factor. It just means that your backup generator and your sex hormones have been depleted for a very long time. And so we really have to keep the DHEA in mind. DHEA also helps grow healthy follicles, right? Healthy soon-to-be eggs. And so if we have low DHEA, that could impact having healthy follicles in the long run. We also may want to look at other nutrients like CoQ10, plays a really important role. Zinc, these all help with healthy follicle egg growth. Now, we could have toxin exposure. We talked about pesticides. We could throw mold into that. We could throw lead or heavy metals like mercury. These can all be another stressor that could add oxidative damage and then could impact our egg quality. So usually you see when under an ultrasound, you can see usually the next 90 days of a conveyor belt of eggs kind of lining up on those follicles coming out. And so those first kind of 90 days of eggs are going to be what's impacted by a lot of these toxins that are kind of moving in and out of our body. And so if we can mitigate that, if we're in a toxic environment or a moldy home, or we are getting exposed to lots of microplastics, that can have an impact on those next 3 months of eggs on that ovarian conveyor belt, if you will. All right, so if we kind of recap, right? So we want to look at progesterone levels. We want to look at that luteal phase. We want to look at DHEA and the ovary. We want to look at cortisol, because if we're chronically stressed, chronically low cortisol, chronically low and flat, that means this stress has been going on for a while. The longer something has been going on, the longer it takes to turn that ship around, the more momentum in the wrong direction we have. So the first thing I tell patients is you have to look at the timeline of how long is it happening, how can we fix it? And then also the next thing is, if it's been going on for a while, what's the goal of this pregnancy? Because it's not just to get pregnant, it's to grow a healthy baby. And so we have to have the right mindset, because some women just want to get pregnant, but it's deeper. We want to grow a super healthy baby. And sometimes that means giving it 6 months longer to really replenish a lot of these nutrient stores, to really fix some of these hormonal systems that have been beaten down over time. So you want to really make sure you have the right goal in mind too, not just pregnancy, but a healthy baby. And also you want to set yourself up so when you give birth, you're not suffering from postpartum issues as well, because that can create a lot of depression and things on the backside. And for my men listening, the same things with all the adrenals, all the toxins, all the food, all the nutrients, all the insulin resistance. With men, it does the opposite. It does testosterone to estrogen via aromatase. That can impact sperm counts, toxicity. So all those things still play true. Some of the specific things will come in nutritionally, maybe a little bit more unique to women, but a lot of the principles still hold true. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, let me know. Put it in your comments down below. And if you could benefit, feel free. I see patients worldwide on the fertility side. So if you want more support in conjunction with what you're doing with your other conventional doctors, that's great. Feel free. There'll be a link down below where you can reach out. All right, if you enjoyed today's video, please let me know. I appreciate it and give me a thumbs up. All right, guys, have a great day. Take care. Bye now.